and the absolute truth. This is Krishna himself saying this. See? But Krishna himself says, don't worry about it. Just like Haridas Thakur. Haridas was illiterate, couldn't read a word. Yet he had complete transcendental knowledge just by chanting the holy name. He chanted 3 lakhs of holy name a day. That's practically 24 hours chanting. I mean, it's inconceivable. His whole life he did that. So how could he be so knowledgeable? All he did was chant. Well, the Lord reveals this knowledge from within. You see? You have to do the process. If you do the process, you'll get the result. And then you'll sit there and go, yeah, I know. Otherwise, you'll go, what? How is it possible to get knowledge without studying? Huh? Well, you have to try the process. That is the test of advancement in devotional service. A devotee cannot be in darkness because the Lord shows him special favor and enlightens him from within. In the 11th canto, 20th chapter, verses 32 and 33 of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the Lord further instructs Uddhava, my dear friend, the prophets derived from fruitive activities, austerities, the culture of philosophical knowledge, renunciation, the practice of mystic yoga, charity, and all similar auspicious activities are automatically achieved by my devotees, those who are simply attached to me by loving service. These devotees have everything at their disposal, but they desire nothing outside of my devotional service. If ever a devotee should desire some material profit, like promotion to the heavenly planets or some spiritual profit, to go to the Vaikunthas, by my causeless mercy, his desires are very easily fulfilled. Actually, a person who is developing Krishna consciousness and still has some attachment to material enjoyment will soon be freed from such a tendency by regularly discharging devotional service under the instructions of a bona fide spiritual master. Because why? The results of devotional service are eternal and transcendental, whereas the results of any kind of material process like going to the heavenly planets or different mystical powers and stuff like that are all temporary. Knowing this, the devotees automatically give up the material things and they take up a process that gives spiritual benefits, which is devotional service. Spiritual benefits are all eternal. They never decay, they're never lost. They can't be contaminated or stolen or anything. They are ours eternally. So why shouldn't we just concentrate on developing those things? Srila Rupa Goswami then recommends that one should not be attached to material sense enjoyment, but should accept everything enjoyable which is in relationship to Krishna. For example, eating is necessary, and one wants some palatable dishes to satisfy his sense of taste. So in that case, for the satisfaction of Krishna, rather than for the satisfaction of the tongue, some palatable dishes may be prepared and offered to Krishna. Then it is renunciation. Let palatable dishes be prepared, but unless they are offered to Krishna, one should not accept them for eating. This vow of rejecting anything which is not offered to Krishna is actually renunciation. And by such renunciation, one is able to satisfy the demands of the senses. So understand the process. It's just like we have a nice house. We have adequate clothing. We have such nice equipment. Nice, good camera and computers and stuff, software and everything. It's not like we're, living under a tree somewhere. Although we've done that too. But because we have engaged all these things in devotional service, they're not a burden. They're not material. Actually, they're Krishna's spiritual energy. And we see like that. We're not attached to them because we feel, oh, this belongs to Krishna. But we use them to please Krishna. And because of that, they don't inhibit the natural expression of our spiritual energy. In fact, they help it. So just like Prabhupada gives the example of offering prasadam, offering food and then taking the prasadam from Krishna. And it can be very nice, palatable food. That's all right. To live on beans or something like that, dry bread and beans or something, that would be horrible. But the impersonalists do stuff like that, or they just eat fruit. There's one famous guy, Baba Haridas, who only eats milk. I think he like a cup of milk a day or something like that. Why does he do that? Why doesn't he eat normally like a regular person? And he doesn't speak either. That's probably a good thing. But he still carries around a little slate and he writes everything on the slate. Krishna. But we use words that are offered to Krishna. Words about Krishna. Krishna's holy name. Words about our service. Like just a few minutes ago, we had this big conversation about how to move a bunch of files around on our website. Sounds really material, but for us it was no burden. It was no trouble because it was all to serve Krishna. Like, where are we going to put Vishnu Sahasranam? Where are we going to put the Ishopanishad? Where are we going to put the different multimedia files and this and that? It's nice because it's all transcendental sound vibration. So we don't think of it as work. It's like it's part of our loving relationship with Krishna. So all of this stuff that we have and all the tools that we use, if there was some earthquake and all of it was lost, we wouldn't be unhappy. It would just be an interruption of our service, but it wouldn't actually, it wouldn't actually stop us from serving Krishna. You see? It might make us a little bit less able to help other people serve Krishna, but it wouldn't stop us from serving Krishna, so it wouldn't really hurt us. You see? Once you start to measure everything in terms of Krishna's service, this is the key. You see? When we measure the value of something, we have some measure in mind, like money. Some people measure everything in money. Well, that's worth $500, and that's worth $200, and they actually compare things like that, and they value things like that. Oh, this camera is worth $1,500, and that one's only $20. So this is much better. And then they become attached to it based on their measurement. And then if anything happens to it, then they're very upset. I'm $1,500 worth of upset over this. But the devotees measure everything in terms of Krishna's service, right? And how is our day? How is the day going? Well, was I able to engage in Krishna's service today? Yes. Well, what happened? Oh, the house burned down and we lost everything. But I got my beads, so I can still chant. So I can still be engaged in Krishna's service? Okay, no problem. You see? That's how the devotee thinks. So devotees have a different value system than a materialist, or a different value system than the impersonalist. The impersonalist is thinking, how can I come up with such a novel argument that my philosophical opponents won't be able to defeat me? See? Because of that, he's stressed out and he's like always, making a big effort. So we don't have to do that. We don't have to live like that. We can always be engaged in Krishna's service. All we have to do is chant the holy name, Hare Krishna. We're immediately engaged. All we have to do is think of Krishna, or his service, or his devotees, or so many things. So if we redefine our values and reconstruct our life in terms of Krishna's service, then we're always engaged, we're always happy, we always have good energy, we always have a bright future ahead of us. We don't have to struggle, we don't have to worry. Try to understand. This is an ontological shift. That's why we put so much stress on the nature of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam as an ontological work. Because this is called lazy intelligence. Why should I run all over the world and do so much work and try so hard when all I have to do is change my ontology? See? Why should I go out and build this big new computer when all I have to do is load a new disk into it? Upgrade the software. See? Why should I try to change so much in my life when all I have to do is change the way I look at it? You see? That's the key. And it's not just change it for the sake of changing it, but to change it in a specific way related to the absolute truth and related to devotional service to Krishna. That's the secret. That's what we're trying to communicate here.